All right. Brett, how about the NFL having to deal with the fact that over the last 10 years, and they know it, players regularly have been faking injuries to stop the no-huddle offense. And that there are a bunch of players that came out today and said, yeah, we've been doing that for years. I mean, people have been taking dives for years to stop the no-huddle. We do it against Peyton Manning all the time. Yep. Everyone does it.
Yep. Well, and we saw with Deion Grant, and what this really reminds me of is Derek Jeter's fake hit in the game. It was sometime last year, I think, or even the year before. And it was funny is because the analysts all applauded him for doing whatever it took to get on the base.
Yeah.
You know, he went for a bunt, and he retracted, and it hit the edge of his bat, and he acted like he had hit an arm. In this case, you know, Deion Grant went down faking injury. Actually, there were two Giants players that went down, and one bounced right back up.
Yep. They didn't know. Between the two of them, they weren't sure who was supposed to take the dive, so they both took dives. And then Grant stayed down, the other guy going, oh, not me? Oh, okay, I'm back up.
I don't know if you heard what the announcer, you know, like what you were alluding to basically is that, you know, the announcers were saying, oh, yeah, this, you know, like it or not, but this is a tactic that defense is used against no-huddle offenses.
Oh, yeah, all the time. They've been doing it for years.
Yeah. It's funny, though, because these same announcers, these same analysts that were applauding it on these other American sports always call it cheating when it happens in soccer.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that embellishment. He faked an injury. He's not hurt. That's cheating, blah, blah, blah. Like, it happens in every sport now.
Oh, yeah. I mean, embellishment is part of sports. We watched it with Reggie Miller for years.
I was going to say, there's tons of embellishing, you know?
Yeah, basketball.
That's all it is. Everything's a foul.
You're fouled every time you chuck a three up, you know? I mean, that's just the way it is. So, you know, the whole argument from that side of the peanut gallery that we always hear about soccer, oh, I'm so sick of people, you know, taking a dive. Just shut up.
Mm-hmm.
Just shut up. That's all I have to say. All right, it happens in every sport. All right, Concacaf Champions League, Brett. Depressing.
Well, yeah, obviously it's not great to see LA, Colorado, and Dallas come out with losses recently. Yep. The good news is none of the five MLS teams that are in Concacaf Champions League are out of it by any means.
They might as well be, some of them.
Well, no, they still have two games. The only one that's really concerning me is Colorado.
Yeah. I mean, listen, they're behind Metapan from El Salvador and Real España from Honduras. Listen, if they're behind Costa Rican and Mexican teams like Los Angeles is, okay, I can buy that, although I am really surprised by the fact that Los Angeles didn't perform better against Alajuelense. But to be behind
exactly
Metapan and Real España, I mean, come on, Real España, these are, okay, it's the top El Salvadoran team in the league. It's the top Honduras league team in the league. Come on. Really? We should be able to put out a decent enough B team for the Colorado Rapids to beat these guys. I'm sorry. This pisses me off.
Did you watch any of the highlights or the match itself? Colorado had their chances. They could have put the game away.
Still, they're behind. Are you talking about their loss against Real España, the 1-2 game? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
They had their opportunities, and I mean their manager even came out and stated that he put more credits in the Saturday game against San Jose than he did the midweek game versus Real España. And he said that's reality. He's still focusing highly on the league, and he still threw together a. I guess you would say maybe like a B-plus squad per se against the Concacaf Champions game. And while that might be Colorado's take, you mentioned LA. Donovan came out and said that, LA came out and played a bit naive. Mm-hmm. That they came out a bit naive in playing in a hostile environment.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, I mean, if you look at Group C, you have Dallas and Toronto fighting for that second spot. Hell, they're both still fighting for that first spot. That's a close battle for the top three teams in that group.
Yeah.
Sounders are on top of their group by a win. I mean, none of the teams are out of it by any means. LA is only LA has 6 points. LA is only like 3 points from the top, win from the top, anyways.
Yeah.
So I mean, none of the teams are mathematically out by any means. Pretty much, 4 of the 5 teams still have a solid chance of moving on to the next stage. 5 of the 5 teams could possibly still move on to the knockout stage. So it was an upsetting and depressing week for MLS teams for the most part. However, it's still not so overly negative. We're still competing. Most of our teams are still towards the top of the table, anyways. And it'll be interesting to see what happens in the next 2 games. I mean, if you look at the next 2 games, LA has Morelia, and then they finish off with Montagua. I even spell it sound correct?
Managua.
Colorado's pretty much fucked.
Yeah.
That's all I can say. They got Metapan and they got Santos. Not a great finishing of the group.
They just need Dallas, 2 wins. 2 wins.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Against the 2 teams on the top of the group.
Right.
So it's not going to be an easy match. And those 2 teams both play each other coming up. And by the time this comes out, they might have already played, to tell you the truth.
Connor Casey, that's hurting Colorado.
Yeah,
big in this area right now, because that's one less striker they have to work with. And so they're just thinner than ever right now. It's hurting.
Did you see the highlights for the FC Dallas match? Well, there's a play. They both teams got a red card, and I thought it was a bit harsh of a red card on FC Dallas. At most, maybe a yellow, but there was a foul that occurred, and they were both caught up on each other, and they both were upset with each other, and the other guy headbutted the FC Dallas guy, and then acted like he got headbutted. So they both received red cards.
Oh, good.
And I thought it was a bit harsh. And there might have been something else there, I guess, but I thought it was a bit harsh. Maybe he was just trying to keep control of the match. I don't know, but regardless.
Yeah. Well, the whole point is, and I hope this is what happens, since we started so strong and then we were at the top of the table on a lot of these groups, except for Colorado, it really looked like we would be flooding the next stage of this competition with American teams.
We still might be. Very easily.
Well, I hope you're right, but how many teams are actually in group stage? This group stage, how many of them are actually right now set to qualify? I'll tell you who: FC Dallas and the Seattle Sounders. That's 2 teams, and if LA Galaxy once again finds a way to completely fall apart. I mean, it wasn't like David Beckham didn't play last night or a couple nights ago. It wasn't like Landon Donovan wasn't playing. He was on the field. You've got to get to a point here where we can at least boast that our MLS is one of the right now. We're not. If we're going to let Salvadorian teams and Honduran teams, I don't mind, playing equals or second fiddle occasionally to a Costa Rican or a Mexican team. But I am not hip to following behind an El Salvadorian team. Metafon qualifying above Colorado, that's just embarrassing, frankly.
Well, and if we're looking at LA, because that's where I think you and I are going to be disagreeing here. LA, their next 2 matches, they play Morelia, and that's a big match, and then because that's a team that's just right above them in the bracket.
That's a home game.
Yep. Then after that, they face the bottom of the table. So if they can get a result against Morelia, hopefully a win, or even if they draw and then they win their last match, then it might at most it'll boil down to goal differential. But they have a good setup. They have to beat the team that's just above them, and then they got the bottom team of the bracket. So,
well, the thing about the bottom team of the bracket, they've got to fly into Honduras, and they've got to play on a questionable field.
Well, yeah.
I mean, look, did you see that game in Costa Rica? It is abysmal. I mean, it's not even. It looked horrible. First of all, it's not real grass. Obviously, it's turf, and it's not Seattle Sounders turf. It looked like about 10 years old. I'll have to look it up, but it looked like crap, frankly.
Yeah.
It looked like old football turf. So hopefully we won't have too many more games on that crap.